I just got back from having a little vom fest. I started doing a reading for myself with my cards. And just became violently pukey, so. Blue's still here, guarding the cards. You're so buff. I don't know if he's trying to tell me to not look at the cards or if he just wants to be with us. But what I've pulled so far, and I kind of explained it, but I'll do it again. I know how to do like a 10 card spread or Celtic Cross. But when I do that, when I assign meaning to the actual placement of the card, I tend to really overthink and just really overcomplicate everything. And I'll question myself, was this the time to start drawing cards? Or so what I've tended to switch into doing is I'll go through the deck a few times. I'm starting to learn what it feels like to be directed to do certain things with the cards, and I'm starting to learn when it's not necessarily a direction that's coming in from out, but when it's important for me to state, these are the rules, this is what happens when this happens, when it's a reversal deck and a card falls face down in front of me outside of the deck, I'm going to pick that up, reverse it, and put it back on the top of the deck. If it doesn't take reversals, the card that comes out face down needs to go on the top of the deck and continue shuffling. And then as they fall, I arrange them numerically. So simple. I try to keep it simple for myself. Right now, I'm just trying to learn what direction feels like. And every so often, it feels super duper bossy. It cracks me up. So this is a deck that I use for clarifying. It does not pull reversals. So with my kind of OG deck that I've had for a long time is I think it's called the Dreaming Way Tarot. I can't remember the artist's name, and my books are nowhere to be found currently. But it's the deck that looks like this, if you are familiar with it at all. I have the Hermit and Judgment for my majors so far, so 9 and 20. I have a reversed Ace of Swords followed by a 5 of Pentacles, a 7 of Cups. And then we have a Page and a Knight touching, but the Page is a cup and the Knight is wand, so they're not a counterpart. And then I have the King of Cups. It's interesting to me that the Ace is the reverse. Usually get a lot of reversals. The one on the bottom of the deck over there is reversed. 7 of Pentacles. Here we have another Princey Poo. This one's Earth. Still not the counterpart, but okay, so I'm just going to kind of chill out a little bit more and let these cards spit. And just knowing what it feels like to know that it's a good time to shuffle versus throw, or whatever this is called. Just to know what that feels like in such a way that I don't regret it or second guess or think well, that was dumb. Why did I do that? There's a difference between, okay, no, now it's undeniable. I'm going to split this open and shuffle them in that way versus no, I need to continue doing this. Or if it's a deck that does reversals, what does it feel like if it really wants to be the whole deck just turned end to end? You know, it's not something a person considers until they attempt. Because you can just pretend and just tell yourself, no, it feels good to be doing this right now versus this other thing I could be doing right now with these same cards, and just get really good at believing, not a lie, but like fake it till you make it. Or you can just really sit down and take the time and feel what it feels like to oh, lover, 3 Pentacles, what it really feels to just do it. And I've had a few times recently where it's just felt downright bossy, the direction. Very clear. It's another Ace of Swords, and this one doesn't pull reversals, but it came out totally sideways. So I think it wants me to kind of recognize that. And I feel like we've kind of circled back around through the deck enough times. I don't think there's anything else that needs to come out of this deck right now. Sometimes I don't know why I'm a 3 person, so I had my eyes, you know, peeled for a 3rd deck for the longest time, for even more, you know, clarifiers. And I just haven't bumped into one that has screamed at me, so 10 swords on the bottom here. So I just picked up a deck of playing cards and kind of said out loud what I decided all the suits were, and we talk using those too. So looky here, we have the Moon in between Judgment and the Hermit. We have a Queen of Pentacles. So we have pages, knights, princes, queens, and kings. But none of them are matchy-matchy counterparts. And we have a 3 and a 2. We have a 2 of Wands and a 3 of Pentacles. Mr. Blue Skies. Your remaining hind leg is, well, delightful, obviously. Please stop mutilating me with your pokiness. It's very, very, very rough this morning. I don't quite understand why he's being so rough with me. Woo. Hey, your jaws pack the wall up like a 2-ton tractor. Please stop. Oh, he's so hurting. Okay. Was this you? Is this your idea of a subtle cue? Bang your tail and bite and give me upside down swords. Now, swords is of the mind. Aces to me are heavy qualities. They're really strong qualities. The quality that I associate most strongly with a sword or with air is communication, or the sort of communication that's not emotional. Mental puzzle communication. Those like wordplay, like those stories that end the way they begin, but in a completely different context, same set of words. Mind puzzles, mind teasers that make us go, oh, oh, we love them, right? But they're not emotional. It's not an emotional love. I have some interesting cups on the table, but none of them are super. I mean, I do have this King of Cups. This is sort of a mastery card of emotion for me, but his Queen's not here. And his page is running around with a Knight of Wands, so. There's a dynamic within my masculine, feminine, within my emotions that's off kilter, distracted. Not necessarily in a bad way, but pretty boy crazy, honestly. And I have to look at, thematically or archetypally from the major arcana with the Hermit, the Moon, and the Judgment. Those are some pretty heavy cues we're dropping, right? The Hermit has to do with I mean, I don't know. He's got bandaging on his hand for one thing. He's got a bandage on his hand. He's got a lantern, so he's obviously in a dark, secluded kind of wooded area. He's wounded. He's got bandaging. Trying to get through the dark. Trying to see. Eyes are downcast. He doesn't really look like he's having a fantastic time. But you don't know that for certain. Maybe those aren't bandages on his arms. Maybe he's just bundled up and cozy. Maybe he's drawn inward. Maybe what looks like a wound outwardly is really just a vast, treasure trove inside that this hermit is focused on. So the outward experience sort of dims. It doesn't have to be a lonely bad card. The Moon is another great card to remind us of the dual nature of things. The way that things that are maybe less illuminated than the sun, not quite as bright as the sun, can still be illuminating. And the Moon card in this deck is not just about light, dark, illumination, and shadow. It's in this deck. This is the Celestial Tarot. In this deck, we talk about the kind of feminine nature of mystery, and how we have these two mermaids, and they almost look like they're opposites, but they're not opposites. They're mirror images. One's going in one direction and the other's going another, and they form an infinity symbol together. There's a dual nature even within femininity, that is there's a more masculine bend in that femininity as far as making things happen, or growing things, or willing things, or intending things. The feminine energy has a very influencing or manipulative, if you will, energy that can feel a little bit like a more masculine side of the feminine. And then there's also the extreme feminine direction or directive or way of doing things, where it's very much flowing and allowing and receiving. So there's that Mobius strip, I think is what it's called, and that's what we see in this card. This card is also representative of Pisces, which is my north node, and the sign of seahorsey out there I keep wondering about. Judgment is 2 steps beyond the moon. So after the moon comes the sun, and then, because that's 19, and then we have 20, which is Judgment. And Judgment in this deck, if I remember right, especially right now, in this moment, it's really reminding me that the things have already been decided. Like, these judgments have already been made. Not necessarily about judging, those extremes of good, bad, like moral value, like big picture, black, white, good, bad, judgy. We're talking about a judgment has been made. Things have already been placed. It's like when you pull something out of the oven, you can't unbake it. You can pull it out on peak, to make sure it's not overbaked, but you can't unbake something. And that's I guess kind of what the judgment card is talking about. So this masculine, feminine, like we've got 5 cards, and there's a lot of masculine, not a lot of feminine. The masculine that is here is, there's one of those 3 that's at a mastery level. And on the feminine, the emotional level is not at mastery, meeting the masculine. And I just think, this time that you're spending alone, Alicia, this hermit time, I have to call myself to look at what's going on within, where that masculine, feminine, where those masculine, feminine worlds collide. What's going on inside? It's mysterious, it's not as bright as the sun, but it's working its way out. That Mobius strip, it's finding its process, right? And there are so many things, I think, more than I am aware, more than I can be aware of. And it's not a excuse to judge or shame myself. But there are a lot of things that have already been set in stone that I can't unbake at this point. And it is mysterious. I'm not allowed to know all those things. I don't get to see everything. And when I think about, I don't get to see everything, my mind goes to, where are my 3s and my 7s? Where are those, are there messages? Those for me are very spiritual, messagey numbers. And I have a 3 next to a 2 of Wands. I have 3 Pentacles next to a 2 of Wands. And I do have a 7 of Cups out on the deck, on the table. So, yeah. Needing to look at that. And in between those messages that I need to be looking at is a 5 of Coin, which is a card that just seems to be glued to my belly button as I navel gaze and do this whole tarot thing, unfortunately. And these swords, pokey from the kitty, banging his tail on him. Obviously something I need to look at. It's a reversal, so, and shadow aspects in my mind, it's not a good, bad thing. It's just, what is this trying to tell me? What's the shadow side of my communicative, my non-emotional, like, verbal communicative? What's the shadow part of that that's popping up right now? That the beautiful thing about these reversals, are these not reversals that we don't love, the 5 of Coin, is that, like, they are shown to us when we're capable of receiving the message. So this isn't trying to tell me, like, Alicia, you're a horrible communicator, you're a jerk, you're not doing a good job of communicating non-emotionally, you're not doing, it's in my world, these messages aren't here to piss me off more, because like, I stand firm in the knowledge that just getting pissed off for the sake of getting pissed off, or just being neurotic for the sake of being neurotic, like, that's not helping anybody. So I know that this isn't here just to piss me off or make me neurotic. These aces of swords of air. One of them being reversed. So we don't rub our faces in mud here. What it's maybe saying is there is a dynamic that's pretty easily reversible, that will turn like a confusion or a mixed signal or a message that's not being received into a clear, precise, effective message. I think that's what that's telling me. And when we're reading the cards, especially for ourselves, like we receive insight. The CBT methodology or therapeutic intervention, the cognitive behavioral therapy, is insight based, which means that the subject of the therapy sets the pace. You don't reach that insight, you don't reach that milestone, that breakthrough, that understanding until you're there, until you're at the point where you can. And that's why I love tarot, is you know, we learn these lessons, and we meet the different facets of the archetypes and the cards, what they mean to us in any given moment, based on the material and the content in our minds at the time. So yeah, this is. And maybe it's even, if I go even broader, like maybe this is saying, like, you need to talk about yourself a little nicer. A Three of Pentacles in this deck is, for me, it's recognition. It's spiritual recognition for work that has been put in. And with it being next to the Two of Wands, it's interesting to me what happens when you put two things in the same room together. What happens when you put two fires together? This card has a symbol for the Sun and Aries. So we have Leo and Aries. I don't know. I don't know why fire doesn't feel good in my mind right now, but I know it's not bad, and the wands can also be very spiritual. So I think there's messages of strength and perseverance coming through here. Messages, this 2 and 3, this messages of I know, baby, it hasn't been easy. Good job, though. I like that Ten of Swords on the bottom of the deck, the bottom of the Celestial Tarot. It kind of gives me hope that there's a change in the air, that there's a change in direction coming. This Five of Pentacles next to the Seven of Cups just doesn't feel good. I don't know why. Five of Swords. I think it has to do with competition, but it reminds me of like a final struggle of my mind. This came out when I was thinking about this Seven of Cups, so I have to wonder if this Five of Pentacles has to do with the final struggle of the mind that not only has to do with emotion, but maybe emotion regarding my money. Because here we also have a Six of Pentacles, which for me, especially depending on the deck, but especially when it's coming out of the Celestial Tarot, this is grace. This is money by grace. This is abundance, not just money, but earthly experience and security via divine. And then I have a couple heart cards. I got another King of Cups and this Jack of Cups, which in a playing card deck you don't have a counterpart dynamic with your Page and Prince or Page and Knight, but we do have Jacks. They kind of make, and they in a playing card deck you only have one counterpart. You have the King and the Queen. So this for me is like, if an ace is a quality, then a Jack is going to be maybe an offer or something that's incoming that I don't see coming. It's got a heart on it. Fives, earth and sword, but we have sixes and sevens and earth and water. I have such an interesting relationship where air and water touch. Our dynamic in my zodiacal chart, so it's something to think about. Anything else? Can we talk about the majors up top? 9, 18, 20. 9, 18, 20. Anything else? Any messages for the major arcana? Four of Fire. Maybe telling me to be a little more conservative. Eight of Fire. And we have the King of Fire. Couple pennies to rub together. Blindfold. This lady needs to take off. Mastery of my fire. Conservation. A two isn't merely two pennies to rub together, but a two of coin is, you know, I said the three of coin in the Celestial Tarot is kind of this recognition. It's kind of like, hey, I know it hasn't been easy, but in other decks, the three of coin can really be this. It's not good enough. Yeah, you did it, but it's not good enough. You still have so much more to do. And the two of coin feels that way for me right now for some reason. I don't know. The two of earth feels inadequate. It feels insufficient. Yeah, you made a mud pie. It's beautiful, but it's mud. I can't eat that pie. I don't know. And I'm getting that sensation that my brain just starts shutting down. It's like, it's okay, Alicia, I'm done playing. I'm going to bed. Wow, when you wake up at 3:50. It's not surprising that you're ready to go back to bed by 6. Body kind of goes, oh, sorry, Blue. He's really sensitive about things tickling his tummy pit. Should we not? You didn't like that card. You got right up and hissed at that card. Did that hit you too hard, mister, or are you just in deep sleep and it startled you? I hope it didn't hurt him. Never want to hurt the baby. 27. Sisters of the Sacral Spiral. You gonna be okay, mister? Sometimes he really gets freaked out, and I don't know if it's a nerve pain thing from the amputation, but just does this jitterbug thing. He can't catch his balance. On the bottom, we have 13 patients in full flight. I love this deck, the Kwon Oracle, Wild Kwon Oracle. Pick it up if you ever get face to face with it. It's just fantastic. So, Sister of the Sacral Spiral. Sacral energy is something I really struggle to connect with, so this is lovely. The higher plan that has been lovingly prepared for you is like a beautiful tapestry coming into view thread by thread. There will be a moment where suddenly the pattern becomes clearly visible, all preparation finally showing itself in effect. The time for acknowledgement and celebration shall happen soon. My weaving hand is steady, sure, and swift, and the threads of your life are rapidly taking shape to reveal my most beautiful divine plans for you. Okay. As your personal tarot reader, Alicia, you need to calm the fuck down a little bit. Allow the things outside of your control to fall into place where they're meant to be. You might think that this is overbaked. Wait it out, honey. Be patient. Be patient. Be grateful. Be grateful that you have communication coming through, that you have communication being received from you, from without. If some of it's upside down, that's okay. That's life. Calm down. Please slow your roll. All of this that is scary and confusing, and you just, it's the final struggle with the emotions and the relationships and where it all bumps up with money. It's a struggle. It is a struggle. It's not meant to be all jack-offs and daisies, you know. It's okay, honey. You're gonna get through it. There's lots here. You've got an entire chorus of progress and growth going on within you. You're not alone here, honey. The only thing is, I think you're kind of running headlong into the sun. And I need you to slow that burn. Allow sacral energy to come to you. Stop trying to force it. Allow it to take you in its hands and transform you. You don't do it. Grace is what's in full flight, not you.